All right, we're sitting down here with Josh Bieneman. He is the head catching instructor here with Aspiring Athletes. So Josh, why don't you give us a little background information on you, kind of like your journey through baseball and then kind of how you got on board with Aspiring Athletes.
Okay, I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. I went to high school there, played 4 years of varsity baseball, and then after that had an opportunity to play some college baseball at Baltimore City Community College. Fortunate enough to go down to play in the Shenandoah Valley League during the summer of my freshman and sophomore year, and I caught it down there. Great experience, played with some great players, met some great individuals that I still talk to today. After that, had an opportunity to go to Georgia College, a little bit south of Atlanta, Division II school. Things didn't work out there, so I came up to Notre Dame College, finished up my junior and senior year there. And met DJ Santiago my junior year at Notre Dame College, and had an opportunity to come in and do some assistant coach work, also with some winter training, and that's where it all started. And moved the programs.
Some East Side teams here with Aspiring Athletes. Kind of talk about your involvement there, and where you are now and where you're trying to be.
Great Lakes Giants started back in 2008. The reason that we started the program was that we were getting so many phone calls from East Side kids that wanted the opportunity, that heard about what we were doing on the West Side, and we really didn't have anything established over on the East Side. So what we did was took that same exact model with the college placement and development, put on the East Side, and started with the 16U team. This past year I did a lot of recruiting, met a lot of great people, and now we have a 13U, 15U, 16U, and 18U team.
Cool. Okay, now talk about a little bit with the practice. Now, this is we're in the middle of February here. We got about a foot of snow outside. Talk about your role in practice and kind of the mentality you go into practice with some of these youth organizations.
Our main goal for practice is we have 10 weeks, and that gives us about 20 hours to work with each group and make sure they get as much information, quality information, as well as repetition. So we know as soon as we hit that turf, we got to be working very, very hard, making sure the players are working in between repetitions. We call that reps in between reps. Make sure even though they're not live in the cage, when they're outside the cage, they're getting their swings in, get as many repetitions as they can to get them ready for high school baseball. And also for the youth program, we're about 5 weeks in now, at the beginning of February. Make sure that as soon as the season hits, they're ready to go hit the ground running.
Okay, Josh, so you mentioned talking about getting guys prepared for high school baseball. Kind of talk about where you try to gear these guys up, getting them ready for college, especially being a former college athlete, playing a little bit professional baseball. Talk about what you try to do to get them ready, not only for high school, but then to kind of stage themselves for baseball beyond.
Well, Tommy, I think that's the most unique thing about this program. Growing up in Baltimore, I wasn't really in a prep program. It was more the dad coach thing, which is fine. A lot of great people volunteer their time to help out with kids. But with our program, the important thing about our program is, at least for me when I was playing, there were a lot of coaches that were telling me what to do something because they heard it. The new thing is here, we're telling our players something and we can explain to the T why we're telling them that, because we've been there. There's not a lot of organizations around that can do that, and that's what prepares a player for the next level. There's knowing what to expect, because if they're having a conversation with somebody, they were actually there just a year or two ago. And it really boils down to what we call RAC, responsibility, accountability, and character, is what we're trying to instill in our players, because you see a lot of high school players that are just on their own page. You see a lot of high school teams that are just on their own page. And we got to let them know that they're a part of something bigger than themselves. When they get to college baseball, for some players, unfortunately, it's a rude awakening. So we try to instill that at an early age here at Aspiring Athletes.
Okay, talk about you talk about practices and working with some of the other coaches. Talk about the camaraderie between some of you guys, especially being all college athletes and just a couple years away from the game. Talk about how that can help in this training.
That's another great point, Tommy. We have great morale here. And the reason being is that the guy that I may be coaching next to, I played 4 years of college baseball with him. Or we have other players that play professional baseball together. So we actually have a camaraderie, we have morale here, and we have a history. And we're all on the same page. That's the most important thing, obviously, in coaching. We have coaches meetings all the time to make sure that we're sharing information. A lot of programs that you see, it's one guy that has a bunch of ideas and he kind of delegates. Well, here we share ideas. And that's what makes us stronger, and that's what is going to make us better every single year.
All right, I want to get something kind of from your perspective. I want you to finish this sentence. Aspiring Athletes is?
Developing athletes for the next level. It sounds simple, but that's exactly what we're doing. That is our mission. We make sure that every time we come out on the turf or every time we come out on the field, that we have a purpose. We need to make our players realize They shouldn't just come out to play baseball just to play baseball, to play with their friends. And if they're doing that, that's fine. But at this program, we like to have a purpose, we like to have a goal in mind. So we have to make sure that every time we come out, we have that one goal in mind, is that we're trying to get them ready for the next level. And all of us are working together to make sure that happens.
Okay, great. Now, I think to finish up, I think one thing for you is defining goals. When you're talking to these kids, if you could think about a goal for some of the teams that you're coaching for next year, what would that be?
I think the most important thing, especially with youth and high school players, is keep it very simple. My goals for every time I go out with Great Lakes Giants is just get better every day. If we can make sure that week 2 was better than week 1, week 8 was better than week 7, and then we're making progress. Just focus on the process, and the results will get there.
All right, great. Well, good information.
Thank you, Tom.